Yeah.
Welcome back to the team room. Trent and I are in here just BSing with you. Well, actually, before we get into it, make sure you guys go to drinkhoist.com, use some IV level hydration. Whoop, how about that? That's better. And here's the best thing about it is that one's not full, actually. I've
Check
got
out the
another
little
one.
powders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got powders, you got full on, you can kind of see it there at the bottom. I'm actually out. Kids have kind of drank it. I just have the bunch of pouches, and then I went into my son's room this morning actually and found a hoist packet, empty hoist packet on his like nightstand, but no bottles of water. Like,
Is
so
he doing the?
I think he's raw dog and freaking just the powder.
That's a
I don't
good
know.
kid.
So anyway, you need some IV level hydration. Whether it's in a ready to drink capacity or pouches. Go to drinkhoist.com. Use the promo code OnesReady at checkout. Then you can also go over to onesready.com, buy any of our merch that we have up there: flags, shirts, stickers, hats, hoodies. It's about to start getting cold, so check out those hoodies.
It's hard to
Right?
see. I got
Yeah.
the gray man is back.
Yeah.
We accidentally matched.
Yeah. Whoopsies.
My favorite thing
Oh,
about
that's
it
cute.
is I'm sometimes like uncomfortable repping Was Ready stuff. You know, it's just one of those weird things I have in my head. But like if I wear this as a gym shirt and I get drenched in sweat, then I'm like, it's super cool because then the Was Ready really stands out. I'm like, well, I earned the right today to rep my company.
That's right. And then while you're there, you can also check out some Attack Elite gear if you're training for the pipeline, whether it's Air Force Special Warfare, Navy SEALs, Rangers, Green Berets, or you're just trying to get fit. They've got rocket fins, they got booties, they've got the high volume masks, they've got watches, they've got ropes, snorkels, everything you would need. They got rucksacks, everything you would need to get ready for the pipeline or any other kind of pipeline that you're willing to, and no promo code needed at all.
Yeah, if you're gonna go do one of those like a Guardian Grit things, it's nice if they show up with the right equipment because then it makes the training just that much better. You know what I mean?
That's right. And I'm actually kind of glad you brought that up because I started pinging you last night on over text, like just one question. And you'd give me a couple word answers. And I'm like, listen, I have questions. I have a lot of questions and I'm interested in what you did. So lay it out for me. Well, what did you do over the weekend?
I guess we'll go back. So Chris Thomas, pararescue guy, is a friend of the podcast. He's been on here before. He's very very good looking. Him and I were instructors together a couple times, and we worked together over the prep course, and so we go way back. But he works in recruiting now. I think he was the first beret wearer, maybe, to get sucked over into recruiting. And he was looking at what's going on, and he's like, dude, there's a lot of goodness here. There's a lot with the developers and everything else. And the way that we have the process structured, but he's like, there's something that a lot of these folks are missing, and it's day one training, right? Because if you're a developer and you're running development sessions, you don't want to cater all of your training to the folks that are just walking in the front door. You definitely want to cater your training to the folks that are about to ship, right? And that makes sense. They would cater your training to the folks that are about to go get kicked in the face over and over again, rather than spend your entire development session, which you don't have that many of. It's just logistics. There's not that many of these folks out there that are running these sessions. You don't want to do the basics every single time because then they're folks that are about to ship. Like that, all they've done is the basics, which is okay, but like they need a little intensity check before they ship out as well. And so he started Guardian Grit, and he's been holding these these little training camps. The things that we make fun of every once in a while, right? And it's funny because some of the candidates that were there were actually making fun of is this camp going to make me an alpha male? Like some of that stuff, which I am, you know me, I'm wholly against it. But Chris is like, no, what these folks are missing is day one skill sets. And if you teach someone the first time, like if the first time you do buddy breathing, like I just tell you what to do and I go in there and I start harassing you like right away, and I don't let you ease into it, and I don't let you, build the confidence through repetition, so that your heart rate's not like 180. Like as soon as I say buddy breathing, you're not like, oh crap, like this is like a high stress environment immediately. You know what I mean? And so that's what we did. We went out to like a little camping area with a pool, a park, and we camped out there overnight. And the first night we did a whole bunch of stuff in the water, and then the next morning we woke up at 5 o'clock and we were in the pool by 6 o'clock again, and working on all the skills. And at the very end, we did like little ruck, familiarization, just telling them kind of what to start with. But it was a good time.
Nice. So what was the kind of temperature of the mindset? Like, is there yelling? Is it more of an instructor based kind of thing? And like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to wear your ruck. I'm going to teach you how to. Here are a couple different ways to do a mask and snort or mask, clear, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So like, yeah, uh, there's no yelling, right? Which is funny because Chris and I will like be on the pool deck every once in a while. I'll be like, dude, like it's hard to overcome years of instructor, right? Years of cadre in you to be like when someone does something, be like, it's day one. So it's not like easy for us all the time to not just like jump down someone's throat. And then, they're all civilians. Well, mostly civilians. We had some active duty folks in there too.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, we got people that are about to ship that were coming over that were just trying to plus up their water skills, and so there was still kind of like a decent breadth of where people are at in their training.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not yelling. The intensity level was probably like a 1 out of 10. Average. We're not yelling at them like every once in a while, be like, hurry up, like you guys are definitely gonna be getting smoked for this, but like just trying to let them know. But really, just trying to train in that day one environment where folks just need to pick up the skill sets, and that's what they're lacking is the skill sets. And then one of the things that Chris talks about a lot, he's like, do you want someone that's practiced the wrong way 10,000 hours
Mm-hmm.
or 10,000 times, or do you want someone that's done it the right way 500 times? And so like you put these kids in the pool and you see it, you're like, bro, like you might make it with your current form, but like you're burning a lot of oxygen. You're gonna get smoked. You're gonna make way too many mistakes to make it if you do it this way.
Yeah. How many people did you guys have?
20.
And they were, I mean, like, how far out did people travel from? At least as far as you know, because I don't know if you know the whole Canada pool.
Well, we had one person flying from Alaska all the way
He
down to San
flew
Antonio.
in from Alaska to do
Uh,
this.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So we had people coming out from like I think one person came from like Maryland or something. Um, and Chris isn't Chris. Uh, full disclosure, made no money off this event. You know what I mean? Like he's not charging exorbitant. It's not. How much was that other course that people were paying for?
I
The
don't know.
the Alpha Male.
I heard different things, so I don't want to say one way or the I heard upwards of 18,000, and I heard 10,000, 13,000. So I don't know what they actually charge.
No, it was this costs way less, and I don't want to speak for Guardian Grit because I'm not officially a part of that organization,
Right.
but like it's kind of bare bones. We're not trying to do anything that crazy, and he's just trying to build it slowly so that eventually he can make a little bit of money, but mostly just so he can like give the best performer, the most improved person at the end of the course something the best gift possible
Oh,
to
that's
to
cool.
motivate everybody. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was a good time. It was the night swims super cool. Brought lights out and they're all training out there in the middle of the night, and it was pretty rad. Everybody got only a few hours of sleep out there. We're camping and wake up bright and early and then get back in the pool. And even just that, even though there's no like yelling intensity, just that you're in the pool for like 5 hours. You go back to camp, a little bit of food, a little bit of chit chat and mentorship, and then
Yeah,
like at a certain point, like it was like midnight, and I'm like, I gotta go to bed, guys. Like I'm old,
I'm an
so
old
like
guy.
I went and crawled into my hammock, and at 5 o'clock, you hear the camp wake up. Time to get up and get ready to get back in that pool by 6 for another, I don't know, 4 hours, 5 hours.
Nice. Dude, that sounds awesome. But I think that's the natural, like, there's a difference. And I know that's easy for us to say, like, oh, of course you're going to say there's a difference, but you're coming at it from an instructor aspect. And I think that's different, in my opinion,
Well,
than I'm
yeah,
just here to smoke your balls off.
yeah, and I don't want to burn anybody else down, right? Like I think there's people that crave the intensity, but you see a lot of these companies that like guys did, one enlistment and they get out and they start doing this kind of stuff, and I think where they thrive is the currency in the fitness, right? They're like gonna bring it's like if you bring a kid that just got selected home on rap and recruiter's assistants, and you're like run a smoke session for us, like he'll be there with the candidates and he'll go crazy, like it's gonna be insanity. And there's goodness in that, but like Chris and I were instructors for a long time, and it's like, man, I'm here to make sure you get it right, I'm not here to just, I can smoke you. That's easy. Smoking you is easy. Teaching you the right way is a lot more difficult.
It is. You can smoke anybody.
Yeah. Like standing on the pool deck, it's not hard I can make you pass out if you're willing. Like I'll just give you stupid timelines. It's not hard.
Yeah. But I will set it up to make you fail.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't be that difficult. But it is cool though, like because of how much time they spend in the water over the course of, less than 24 hours. It is cool to see some of these folks actually make improvements, and doing the same thing over and over again and working on their turns on their swims and working on their underwaters and starting it from like the step zero process, right? Like we're not like, oh, do an underwater and I'm going to critique you. It's like, let's focus on our breath holds first. Let's talk about your form underwater. Let's talk about how you push off the wall. We'll harp on all the really little things that you see become very clear after seeing it enough as an instructor, right? All the repetitions. It's not just try harder. It's like you got to find the rhythm of what it is in the environment, in the schoolhouse environment. Like this is what it's going to sound like. These are the commands that we're going to give, and this is how you do it correctly to save energy and maximize, the time that you have and all that other stuff.
Dude, man, if I had something like that, and I know the developers are doing that, once you get into development, after MEPS and all that kind of stuff, and the T3I guys, they're doing a good job of that, but they're limited resources and they can't catch everybody. And you're talking, at least there were two of you, right?
Yep.
You and Chris. So you have more eyes on, whereas the developer has one. Maybe they have a second set of eyes, which is a recruiter, but the recruiters don't always know what they're looking for either. You know, so having that extra set of eyes and that somebody who's, both of you guys not only have gone through it, but I've also been instructors, and you know what you're looking for. You know how to be efficient. You know the things that they will do to get them smoked, things that will do to, I don't want to say impress cadre, but just be like, all right.
Oh no, we talked about that.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Well, we just talked about like if you're squared away, like, and you look a certain way, like if I call you, like if you are at attention all the time, you stand in the pool a certain way. If like you push off the, like if you're like just look the part often enough and you're doing things correctly, like if you have an off day, we're not, like that's when the cadre, we all look at each other. We're like, dude, what's up with our boy today? Like, is he okay? You start asking his classmates, like, did he break up with his girlfriend? Like, what's going on with this guy? He's a performer, instead of just being like everybody drop, like Airman Snuffy again, you can't do anything right, like instead of that, like you build up a little bit of credit. It's not unlimited credit, obviously, with the cadre, because we've seen folks that come in as performers and then just fall off a cliff and never recover. But you're gonna get at least one credit where cadre is gonna be like they might be more concerned than they are like just ready to smoke you, and because they see you leaving the pipeline anyway.
Well, I think there's something to be said for you can be in it, like in the suck, not having a great day, or every event could be the event that sucks. But if your head's down and you're just sucking in that air and making it very obvious that you're in the her locker.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can, and again, another, trope, fake it till you make it or whatever, but if you can at least hold your head up and have some composure, even when you're terrified inside, it's going to not only, build those credits with the cadre, it's actually going to train you, believe it or not, it's going to train you to self-regulate yourself and to compose yourself under high stress environments. So it's not just some, what your dad said or what your coach said, because my dad always said, hey, when coach says, hey, bring it in, like, even if you're the farthest one out or the short or the closest one, you never walk. You always jog. Yep. It doesn't have to be a sprint, but you always jog and show some effort, because it's out of respect for the coach. It's not wasting his time. It's not wasting your time, and it's putting in effort. It's the same kind of thing when you are holding yourself up. You're holding your head up. You got your shoulders back, even though you're like, crap, dude, I do not want to do this next underwater or this next 10 up. Like, oh my God, dude. But it helps you to gain composure. It's like you see weirdos that are in the gym doing Murph or some kind of crazy workout, and they're smiling the whole time.
Yep.
That is not a a natural behavior that is
Yeah, but
learned.
it does make a physiological. I don't know how to explain it. Like, how many times have you been doing something and you're just like, I'm just gonna smile, and it's stupid because I'll throw a smile on my face and I'm like, it's not that bad anymore. Like, it just like it can be as good or as bad as I want it to be within reason, right? But just having a positive attitude and not looking defeated and not being defeated. Like looking defeated and being defeated are like so close to each other, that it's really easy to push those people over the edge.
Tell you what, go on a run, go on 2 different runs, and one run, let it happen to you. Let the run happen to you. Just be in your feels and just, oh God, this sucks. This is terrible. And then on the next run, you actually go, when you feel yourself getting into that slump, you actually go, I don't think so. This is my run. I'm controlling it. And you will see, it may not be faster. It may not be, um, your recovery may not be as great, but afterwards you will feel a physiological difference and a mental difference in yourself by just swapping that mindset. It's
Yep.
it's incredible.
Yeah, there's a lot of different tricks, right? Like the whole like one of my mantras is I can do this all day, And if I'm doing something with my kids and they're like, "Are we done yet?" I'm like, "You never think about the end. You never think about the end." Like if I'm going for a run, I start to feel sorry for myself, and I find myself thinking about like, "Oh man, I've only got a mile left." It's like, nope. Hey man, just find that grind pace and be like, I could run like this for the next 12 hours. We'll see what happens. We'll see how far I need to go. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna keep going.
Yep.
And throw a little smile on your face. Be like, "This is what we're doing right now. We're just running, and it doesn't matter." And it makes it easier for me.
It'll
For
make,
me, yeah.
yeah. Well, it'll make it a lot easier when you're in the pipeline and you think that you're done with this run because you happen to be approaching the building or the part where you are normally finishing up, and instead they cadre continue on.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? It's a Hoo-Yah Sergeant, and there you go.
So
All you can do is get on with it because it's you will see people just start falling out, just going like, oh God, they just give up. They can't handle that mental. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny though too because you'll hear guys in your formation that start to giggle when you do it because they'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you son of a," like,
They
you got me good, Sergeant. Like this isn't funny, but like I get it. It's kind of funny. Yeah, it's a good
yeah,
time.
I like it. It's good.
But
What else about the Guardian Grit stuff? Anything else? Anything you took away from it?
I mean, like you said, it's good to have two people. Like we've known each other a long time, Chris and I, and it's just I think one of the things is one of the things I walked away with is the difference in the personalities of the people that make it. And I was thinking about this earlier today. Chris has his way of teaching and motivating, and he's like a very motivational person. The way he makes his brain work for him, and then there's the way I make my brain work for me, and then there's the way like I know you the way you make your brain work for you. And so it's yeah, but like people will always ask like what type of people make it in the community, and I'm like I'm very much I'm a lazy guy. Like I gave them my lazy speech last night. Like I try to do things the right way and put the reps in so that everything's easier because I'm lazy. I don't want to try that hard when it actually comes time. And then Chris is like I imagine myself being a PJ and all that other stuff. But I was thinking about it like I'm a very like I'm not a big strong guy, so my natural inclination is not to just overpower situations. But then I was thinking about how many times on team where like I'm trying to come up with some like righteous, complicated solution to this problem set, and how many times someone has just walked up to me like, "No, we're just going to overwhelm them with simple tactics and balance of action, and then we'll move on to the next problem after that." And I'm like, "Yeah, actually, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense that we just overpower the situation and move on to the next one." Like the thing that I was thinking of is actually a really stupid idea now that you just come in and bring your viewpoint into it. And so just the breadth of personalities that come into the community and make it in a lot of different ways is really what I was thinking about.
Yeah, it's a unique opportunity for them, and I think it's awesome that you guys were able to put that together for them.
I didn't put anything together. I just showed up.
I'm glad that Chris from Guardian Grit was able to put everything together and then bring you in.
Yeah. Well, it's just like it's fun to be an instructor again for a little bit, like, and just try to share what and it all kind of comes back to you, and it's a good time. And all the old lectures that you used to give, you just give again. and that they're still applicable. It's fun.
Still using them. Oh, here he goes again. I've heard this one before.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a new audience, so it's okay. And there
Yeah.
were a lot of listeners of the podcast there too, and they made fun of me a little bit. I brought
Oh
I
yeah.
did bring hoist out there because I was like, man, if we're gonna be in the pool for like 5 hours, and then we're gonna go to sleep for just a few hours, and then we're gonna be back in the pool. I pulled out all the powder packets. I brought like 3 bags of them and dropped them on the table.
Nice.
I'm like, they're like, oh, like you benefit from nothing for this. I'm like, yeah, but A, it actually tastes good, and B, I think y'all need to drink this tonight and tomorrow morning. And I actually had one guy cramping up. He's like, I should have drank the hoist, the next day. And I'm like, you should have drank the hoist. Like, it's free. I gave it to you. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't drink it.
Oh man, like use the tools that have been given to you, man. It's all good.
Yeah. I'm not making money by bringing you something for free and giving it to you. Like, I believe in the product. I wouldn't talk about it if I don't believe in it. Like I'm pretty sure I come across as a fairly, honest person. I hope at least, but I'm not pushing products I don't believe in.
Yeah, for sure. And it feels when we first started this, and to include only up until recently, I always felt really weird doing ad reads and pushing stuff, and because it's like, yeah, I use all of this stuff. I absolutely use all of it, and I like it and I believe it, but it's still just kind of weird to do. Not now. I'm kind of over it now because it's like, look, dude, this is I eventually need this to make some money so that I can continue to do this after retirement. So, that's kind of, and I've gotten very deliberate about when I'm watching YouTube and I watch other people's videos, because I didn't care before. Like, I make sure I go hit the thumbs up because it helps. And it seems stupid, but it helps, So I have, within myself and my own activities, I have made a conscious effort to do those things. But yeah, it's still kind of weird.
It's like all the jokes around all, content creators and all these other people, right? Like all the jokes are always like, oh, like my buddy said, like, why isn't your page so much bigger? It's like, well, you're not subscribed.
You're not shared.
Like you're not
subscribed.
You're not trying to help at all. Yeah. Like I was watching a TV show the other day where there's like the struggling actor, right? And she was talking to her friend, and her friend, she was like, oh, did you see me in this show? And the friend's like, no, I don't have time to watch TV except for, and then she's like, all the stupid shows, the Kardashians and this, and then she lists off like 10 TV shows that she watches. And the other person's like, oh, so you just don't care. Yeah.
Got it.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Well, dude, that's awesome. Are there any other events scheduled that Chris has? Do you know? Because I know we talked about Vegas, like, because it's easy to fly into. There's mountains to train on. There's a good pool out here, and a lot of people want to come to Vegas. So him and I have talked about something in Vegas, but that's kind of where it stopped.
I think that's where it's going. So Chris actually, not to give too much of his life away, he is PCSing. I don't want to give timelines away, but I don't know how he managed to do this event and then move in the amount of time that he had to move. Just like he might be on the road right now as you're listening to this, you know what I mean? Or already gone.
I text him.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that he did this as he's PCSing?
Yeah, like I texted him like the next day, right? Or yesterday. Did I get home yesterday? Yeah, it was kind of a weird weekend. Yeah, and I was like, hey man, thanks for bringing me out, yada yada yada. And he sends me a picture of him in like the U-Haul truck, to go load up the rest of his stuff and drive it to the next. I'm like, dude, he is insane. So I know he's got another event. I think he's trying to do one out in Florida, around the Hurlburt area pretty soon. And then we got to make Vegas happen, because I think having you and Aaron involved would be cool. Unless, maybe it should be people would pay to go there if Aaron is not allowed to talk to them the entire time. I think that would bring in the real money. But
you could just see him just.
All Aaron gets to do is demonstrate things, and
that's right.
That's it.
All right, guys. No, shut up. You just demonstrate. I'm talking.
Yeah. Oh man, that could be a thing.
Yeah, him and I have talked about it. We've talked about Vegas, and we talked about Northern California again because we wanna wrap in Bunkley into it too because that dude's just an animal and a great human being. So, um, having him involved too would be awesome.
Yeah, and I think it fits in with the whole one's ready thing, right? One of the reasons we started this podcast, you'll notice we don't spend a lot of time talking about how to be good on team and all these. We do, but like mostly we're trying to focus on the folks that are at step zero, and that fits in real nice with what Guardian Grid is trying to do. And all of us that have had instructor experience and all this stuff, are pretty tied in with recruiting, and we see these folks out there. It's hard to go from step 0 to step 10, like straight out the gate. And this is the way the world works now. That's an information age. And so if you don't get the right information to them, if you don't train them the right way, and that there's so much stuff out there saying other things, like, oh, you just need to go out there and start running 10 miles like tomorrow. It's like, or if you have the time, train up the right way and give yourself a foundation. And so I think the whole one's ready Guardian Grit thing kind of is it makes sense to work together.
Yeah, no, it does. Man, I don't know if you can hear that. You got F-16s freaking ripping it over my house right now.
Sounds like freedom.
Awesome. Dude, where I live or where we live, I'm right over one of the approaches to get to the range, one of the routes to get to the range. So I've got F-35, F-22s, F-16s, A-10s, even the 60s. In fact, the 60s love to just rip it right over my house. It's and they don't know that it's my house, but it's fantastic just being out there hearing it.
Yeah. I don't want to tell you, but I did paint a giant peach on top of your roof, so maybe they know it's your house.
That would be weird. Yeah, but it's great. It's great to see them because that means I'll always be involved in some capacity, hopefully.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to say anything bad about F-16s, but my first duty station was an F-16 base, and I've told the story. Like, you work nights and you get back to your room. Your shift ends at 7, so you get back to your room around 7:45, around 8 o'clock. And you got to decompress a little bit after work, crawling into bed. And what happens right as you're crawling into bed? Those stupid lawn darts are just buzzing the dorms, and everything's shaking, and you're just like, man, like, I gotta get some sleep. It's hard enough, like, during the day to get some sleep, and then you guys are just flying right over the base and
just full afterburner.
That bunch of jerks. I'm a pilot. I got to get my training in. I got to get down to the whatever South Carolina range we're going to.
What was that? Were you at Shaw?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which was hilarious because I went from Shaw to Fort Bragg, and people were like, "Oh, you're going to Vietnam," and it's like, that's so much better. Like, yeah. Fayetteville is so much better than Sumter, South Carolina. Like, I don't know how to explain it to people. Like,
what year was that though? Because Vice just was at Shaw, and he was like, dude, they have built this place up. Like, I haven't been to Sumter in 20 plus years. So
yeah, I was out there. I left in 06 to go to Bragg.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I was there from 3 to 6 or 4 to 6.
Apparently they built it up and made it a lot nicer now.
Yeah, I mean, the base wasn't bad. Like, it was nice. It was like a smaller base ish, like as far as like the living area and all that is obviously was large with the runway and a bunch of other extra land, but I mean, it wasn't like a bad place for your first duty station. There wasn't much to do, so it was good for training up to switch over. What am I going to do during shift in the middle of the night? Like, I'm going to go for a run. What else? There's nothing else to do.
There's nothing else.
Yeah. So
all right. What else? What else is going on?
What have you been up to? What are you out there doing in Vegas and all the things and the world? You want to talk about politics or no?
I don't really want to talk about. I mean, listen. Politics is a sport now, like, so I do enjoy talking about it. Aaron and I were actually, we recorded yesterday, and we were talking about a couple different things, but one of the things that we were talking about is the kind of Hurricane Helena that came through, and then all the bases and all the cities that got messed up. So if you're out there, sorry, well, hopefully you're even able to watch this at some point, but like, no power, no water, they got wrecked out there.
Yeah.
But what brought it up was because on the Airman NCO, Senior NCO Facebook page, somebody, anonymously, of course,
the bravery
was I'll just remember it because I can't find the thing. But they said they had Moody Air Force Base has airmen from the dorms reporting to the fire department to start cleanup and work around base. LOL. And it's like, are so you're laughing. The way it read was in this is assumption on my part. Fully acknowledge that is that you're laughing at them because they had you're either laughing at the situation or you're laughing at them because because they live in the dorms they have to go put in work around base. And it's like, yeah, dude, everybody does, or everybody should be, because we take pride in what you should be taking pride in your base and your community and trying to make it better. And especially after a devastating hurricane or a devastating natural disaster, you you what else are you supposed to do? You're supposed to get out there and help. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't comprehend where that kind of mentality comes from, where like I'm in Vegas. We don't have natural disasters like that. And I'm watching it going, dude, how can I get in some capacity? You know what I mean?
You guys
Like,
just have summer in Vegas, which is a
it's just
natural
summer.
disaster every summer.
We have floods during the monsoon season, but it's and people do get trapped. I mean, there's a lot of rescues during that time, but yeah, it's not like a hurricane.
Yeah. No, that's wild to me. There's like, LOL, like they should be out there doing their thing. After Katrina, I was there, and the whole base that was still around, like everybody, you were either heading out to get out of the way if you were TDY, like I was, like we, found a car that actually worked and had a windshield and, cut some fuel lines to get enough gas to get out of there. And the rest of the base was just waiting to do cleanup, like that's what you do. That's what you should want to do. And then you want to get out there in community and try to help out as much as you can if that's available as well. But like, have you seen what John Howard's been doing?
I was actually going to bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I get hired on by those dudes?
I think after you retire, we just got to go to that. What is the Arrow something? I'd have to look it up. I was sharing a bunch of their stuff today because I was inspired by what they're doing.
Keep talking and I'll find it.
Yeah. But they're just going out there. It's a bunch of, it's a group that was started by some former soft dude, I think. And they go out there after natural disasters and actually try to get the work done, where it needs to be done. And they can move a lot faster. They don't have to ask permission. But, they have people like Howard, that's a former combat controller. That, they have radios. He's talking to helicopters. They're doing a lot of coordination and all the little things and trying to pull it all together to really make a difference as fast as possible on the ground. And these guys are just going out there and getting after it, and it's super awesome what they're doing, and a guy like, Howard, who doesn't have to do anything, like he doesn't have to go out there and risk, anything to go help people. And I was just like, man, I hit him up with a message, just like, man, it's good to see you guys using your skills for good. Like it's super awesome. So
let's see here.
Felt kind of like a POS for not being out there with him, if I'm honest.
So he's with Charlie Keyball.
Yeah.
And the name and Charlie Keyball was a pretty, I don't want to say pretty well known, like downplaying it, but he's a freaking well known TACP that was kind of instrumental in the lobbying to keep the A-10. So it looks like it's
the aerial recovery group. I don't know if people can see that on my phone. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, aerial recovery group. And they are putting in some work, and it's pretty freaking awesome to see. And yeah, I got to figure out how to get involved with them. And I'm sure there's others out there doing great work, so not to downplay any of them, but it's, man, take care of your own community. And then when and take care of others. That's all these people that, and I know we actually talked about this with, Aaron and I talked about it this weekend with Baker Levitt, which hasn't released yet, and it probably won't release for a couple of weeks, and we talked about servitude and way the mental health, crisis, if you want to call it that, and suicide and all that kind of stuff. Everybody is me right now. Oh, you need to do self-care. You need to take care of yourself first. Well, and this is what I would argue, that I think that you need to take care of others first, and that you will find that you will have healing and you will have progress, mental progress, and physical progress in helping others before you actually help yourself in a selfless act. And this right here is a prime example of that. Do you know what kind, and both, John and Charlie Keeball they're older, right? I mean,
John's not that old.
John's younger than us, but I mean, what I'm saying is they're not young airmen that would be in the dorm.
Right.
And the reward that these two and their entire group, the aerial recovery group, the reward that they are getting, just self-satisfaction and helping other people, is more than you will ever get from going to therapy or going to, I need to take care of myself first. I need to get off of social media. I need to, like, dude, what they're doing is fantastic. I challenge you to do it. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Well, and this is my whole thing about altruism, right? I don't think there is a thing as altruism, because it's impossible to do something good for somebody else and to not get rewarded for it. It's impossible to do that and not feel good. You're gonna get a reward. There's no such thing as altruistic. You can have altruistic motives, but there is a reward on the other side if you do good. And like the whole self-care thing, it's just like anything else, right? Where there's a spectrum. There's a point when it becomes not good, right? In your career, like I think we all hit that point where we realize that we were probably sacrificing a little too much of ourselves for whatever we were doing, and you have to take a step back and kind of like rebuild your body again, and then like get your cortisol levels down. Otherwise, you're just gonna break down. You're not gonna be good for anybody. So like have to balance things out a little bit. But man, it can't be all about yourself. And like, what the hell are you doing joining the Air Force anyway? If after a natural disaster, you're not willing to go out there and put the work in, and to me, all this says is these people have never experienced that before. It's easy to go like, man, these people are so dumb, like that this is what they should want to do. But really, after you've had like a few experiences helping other people out in dire situations, there's no way that you come at that and say something like, well, that's not my job. That's not what I signed up for. This is stupid and I don't want to do this. Like, no, then you're going to chase it, because that reward from the, altruistic motivation is so great. It almost is better than anything else in the world. So I think these people growing up, I think that's probably what the problem is they've never done something like this. And so they don't understand what it will do for the people that they're helping, and then also for themselves moving forward.
It's almost not, I don't want to say it's not right, but it almost makes no sense of how much it does for you and other people. Because when there are people that are in their essentially darkest moment, they have lost everything. And I know it's just materials, right? But they've lost they don't have a place to live. They're like the whole, what are the hierarchy of needs, what's the
Food,
dude's
water,
name?
shelter,
Yeah.
yada yada.
They don't
Caffeine,
have,
nicotine.
yeah, definitely caffeinecardomax.com, promo code one's ready. um, they don't have shelter, right? There's a good chance that they don't know where food's coming from. They don't know where water's coming from. Some of them may not know where their family members are. Some
Yep.
of them may be hurt themselves. Some of them may be dealing with hurt family members and friends. And so they're essentially in their darkest place. And then you have somebody who's coming to help and is willing to provide them food, water, shelter, recovery, communication to then get in contact with people. Dude, I don't think people realize how, I say, magical that is in the way that is going to help you grow as a person.
Yeah, the energy you get from doing that is insane. Like when you help somebody out, like it's just, I don't know what it is physiologically that happens to you, or spiritually, or whatever else it is, but it's one of the best things in the world. And the gratitude you get from people when you help them out, and it's almost uncomfortable, right? Every time you do something to help somebody out, and there's something about it. I think it's the humanity, like the real connection of humanity is shown in those moments, right? Where we're just trying to help each other out. And that will motivate you to seek stuff out like that for the rest of your life, and see it for what it really is. And that's why I think altruism isn't real, because there's no way you don't get something amazing out of it. There's no way that your life isn't better after that.
It's that, and that's why I'm saying, that's why I challenge people to do it. If you think I'm wrong, try it. Try it during anything. And sometimes you're not in places like I said, we don't really have natural disasters over here. We do have flooding here in Las Vegas, and it can get really bad. And there are people that they get recovered up on Mount Charleston. It's just shy of 12,000 feet, and they've got their own climate up there. And sometimes it downpours, and then people get caught in flash floods. Going up Highway 95, or I think it's called 11 now, up towards Creech. There's
Why do they keep changing names? Just kidding. Sorry.
I think because I think apparently it's always, I don't know. But so you got the two roads, and there's nothing out there, right? And there's a massive, and I'm sure there's actually a name for it, but a drainage district goes down the middle of it, and it's huge and it basically flows all downhill into Las Vegas. And when it rains, it gets crazy on that road. And there have been many airmen that work at Creech that have stopped and helped people because they're out there driving in Las Vegas or in the surrounding area when it's raining and it floods so easily. And they've recovered elderly people that have gotten caught in that ditch, just getting, washed away in their vehicle, that would have died if airmen didn't get in there and save them at the risk of their own life.
Yep.
You do something like that in your life, it will change you forever.
Yeah. What's funny is I just thought of is like the training simulations that we do where you have to go save someone and you get like, it's not the full thing, but you do get a piece of that as well, right? Like I remember being out there in Vegas training at that little course that they have out there by the mountain. And I remember, picking somebody up and like running them out of that situation that we were doing the rescue or whatever. And even then, like it's just the fact that it was like a real human being playing this person, I picked up and we started running and got that person out of there. I know it's not real, but you still get like, it's nice to like get a person out of that. Like it's chaos, and the training was really good, and I think that's kind of what starts it. It's like, man, it is kind of nice to get in there and rescue people,
Yeah.
So I get PJs a little bit. I really do. They're still idiots, but it's fine.
Yeah. PJs. Ooh.
I'm Superman.
Little 3 doors down, a little kryptonite. That's right. That's what you guys are. PJs.
Well, but you see that comment the other day where someone asked if we were, did they call us spiritual, or they're like, are all you guys like get spiritual on team or something?
Yeah, soft dudes. It was weird, huh?
I was like, what do you mean by that?
It's not a weird comment, I guess. I guess it's just maybe we've said something recently or in a couple episodes. I am not a spiritual kind of dude at all. Like,
are you into like the crystals though?
Yeah, I'm a big crystal cat person too. I'm not old money though. Yeah, I've got crystals everywhere, and I just rub them on me, and I just
you align all your chakras so that you feel better. It was an odd comment because as we talk about stuff like this and your attachment to like humanity and connections and all that other thing, I'm like, if that comes across as spiritual to somebody, like that's kind of weird. And then to me, it's just like, I think if you see soft dudes, and we all, not all, but like there's a lot of guys that like become very invested in different causes and different things and trying to save the children or save the whales or whatever and all this other stuff. It's like there's perspective that comes from the experiences that you have, right? And then it's people can look at it and be like, yeah, but your body and all these bad things that you had to see. But like often on the other times, at gaining that perspective over 20 years of doing the stuff that we did, you come out of the other end and people are like, well, are you guys like spiritual? And it's like, no, I just see the connections and I understand like what's important and what's not, I think a lot better than a lot of other people my age.
Yeah, and maybe it's just maybe spiritual wasn't what he actually meant. Maybe it was just, I don't know. I think you definitely get a different sense of or appreciation for life, and I think that's kind of natural anyway. Our culture and the time that we are living in now, mixed with that, has a different value on life than say we did back in the 20s, back in the 30s, 40s, and obviously well before that. because when you start talking about just with war in terms of Vietnam, Korea, World War II, World War One, the losses that they encountered, Civil War, like
Oh, geez.
the losses they encountered is not fathomable, geez, um, in 2024.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why the messaging when you start talking about great power competition and all that kind of stuff is that it's trying to get people going like, hey, if things do escalate and do go that route, it's not going to be like losses like in Iraq and Afghanistan. We're talking significant life loss, and I'm trying to think and talk at the same time, but I don't know what was our loss rate, or how many people did we lose in Afghanistan and Iraq?
It was like, I don't know, like close to 3K in Afghanistan, right? Was it over 3K? I stopped paying attention because I can't. I mean, what were 10, 15K total? 20K? I don't remember.
I want to say it was around 20. Okay. Actually, how many people were killed after 9/11 is one of the things that comes up. Now, this is that's weird.
Well, I think one of the things we learned from that too is if we get into that kind of competition, like I don't, the civilian populations on both sides are the ones that are going to take huge losses.
Yeah.
You start playing with certain weapons and all this other stuff, and they get across the ocean, we get across the ocean. It's the collateral damage is going to be insane. There's only so many military members that can die before civilians are just getting obliterated by thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people all at once.
So the United States Institute of Peace, November 3rd, 2022. So the U.S. government spent $2.3 trillion, and the war led to deaths of 2,324 U.S. military personnel, 3,917 U.S. contractors, and 1,144 allied troops. For Afghanistan, the stats are nearly unimaginable: 70,000 Afghan military and police deaths, 46,319 Afghan civilians. And it says, although that is likely significant underestimation, and then some 53,000 opposition fighters killed. So 2,324 active military personnel.
Yep. And with the contractors and the allies, we're up around 6.5, something
Sure.
like that.
Yep. So we will lose that night one.
Yeah.
Like, if things go south, right?
If we go to total war, it's going to be
total
horrific.
war is going to be like they say unimaginable in terms of 70,000 and 53,000 and 46,000 here. That's not unimaginable if you actually take into consideration what happened during the Civil War, World War I, II, Korea, and Vietnam, and you talk about the accuracy, the yield that these munitions have, how much air power there is, how much naval power there is, and you talk about. I mean, it's just, dude, it's insane to think about.
Well, I mean, the things that I think most people don't think about is, or maybe they do it these days, I don't know. Like your famines, your loss of access to the internet, to power, to transportation, to all these things, right? Like if we're going to war and everything's being fed into the war machine, and we're dealing with cyber attacks from them, we're cyber attacking them, like we're trying to shut down their grid, they're trying to shut down our grid. Food supply fights, all of a sudden the shipping, everybody starts just like hitting all the shipping, freighters or whatever out there in the ocean. Your oil's not moving around, your food's not moving around, your microchips are not moving around. It's bad. Like we're going back to the 20s or earlier quick,
And that's why, like, hey, I'm all for making things, outsourcing and making things cheaper, but you don't do 100% of your stuff is outsourced. We need to have the capability, the technology, and the facilities to make our own stuff For example, like we saw this from the beginning of 2020 that microchips, our own medicine, like right, medicine
most
that
of that
we
stuff's
rely
poison
on,
anyway, so it's fine.
right? But yeah, I can't fully subscribe to everything that you just said there, but yeah,
Not fully, but yeah, I know,
yeah,
and I get your
but
it's not all bad, but
right, but it's like you gotta be self sustainable, right? So what's up?
if we didn't have government policies that made it so hard to run companies in
Yeah,
our own country, it wouldn't be that hard, and they never would have left. Everybody wants to blame the corporations, and I'm not saying that there are not corrupt corporations and people just price gouging, but like the amount of money they have to spend to move their stuff overseas to not pay obscene amount of taxes or all the regulations and all these other things. Like you're like, oh, we want manufacturing back in this country, not you, but the
yeah,
general you out there. And it's like, well, how about you vote some people in that don't hate like progress in that arena, that are not just like going to go crazy about these things.
yeah,
If you value people above all else, and you value independence and freedom, that's not the way to do it. Is to overregulate and overtax not only just the citizens, which I think is also true, but also the corporations and the companies, and making it as hard as possible to do these things. And then have the other thing too, which is, sorry, like did you listen to? Well, okay, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and someone was like, how come all these giant corporations become leftists? And it's like, because they're trying to stifle competition. That's another thing that happens, right? And that's what fascism is the corporatism mixed with the government. And that's why all these huge companies become leftists, is because they're trying to stifle the small competition coming up and taking their place. They want the entire marketplace. So like we can talk about this stuff all we want, but like it's not just because Americans are not willing to do anything. It's because there's a lot riding against it or pushing against it.
yeah. I mean, dude,
We weren't going to talk about politics, but I'm sorry.
no. But we're a small business, right?
Yeah.
There are so many things that make it difficult for us that are obstacles, and you're like, dude, why is this an obstacle? Why are you coming after me for so much money in terms of taxes? Like we are we are not making very much, and you're coming after us for taxes. Like,
Well, we can just tell them as individuals, we're not making anything.
no,
We're not making any money.
and that's
So
fine. You got a great product, you give it away for free, right?
yeah,
So
that's what we do.
we got a great
Isn't that
product.
how the saying goes?
Yeah. And then at the same time, if you don't like what we're saying, well, you get what you pay for as well. So there you go. Like how many people are we living rent free in their brain right now just because Scott Zasher came on and said tourniquets are worthless?
Or calling people fat, you
Yeah.
know?
Like the fact that we still, 3-4 months later, get comments on the tourniquet episode, and then we're clickbait and people are upset because we posted something without context and stuff like that. It's like, okay, sure.
Then start your own podcast.
Like,
Just a suggestion.
yeah, I'm not saying we get everything right or do everything right, because we definitely don't, because we're three idiots that still struggle every time we start a podcast. The part that you guys don't see, struggle to make sure the cameras work, to struggle to make sure the connections work, struggle to make sure the freaking the microphones are working, and oh, now I got an echo. Why do I have an echo? I didn't have an echo last time. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Like we're just three idiots behind cameras and a microphone. That's it.
Yeah, well, we do have some experience. Like I'm trying real hard these days to not, put myself down too much, because
I'll do it for
we
you.
we are three idiots, but also just like with the getting used to pushing products and all these other things, which is part of business. We have to do it just to keep the lights on and all that other stuff. You do get the comments where it's like, man, like you guys actually do help a lot. The people that are out there like running around giving the surveys to the career fields. I forget what that's called. Where they do the surveys to figure out like how your training was. They leave from AATC and they go, survey, PJs at a certain group, or PJs here, PJs there, combat controllers.
I'm not
CCT
familiar
has
with that. Is that
traditionally
you're
been
not talking
very
about like the Rand studies?
No, this is like an Air Force function where there's a few different things we do where we go and we ask people what training was valuable. This is how we change our testing and our other stuff as you test for promotion and a few different things. But also AATC will go out and be like, hey, like, was the training valuable here? Like, how did you get into the pipeline? All these different surveys that go into all these different data banks, and we do different things with it. But like, I got a message from one of those people that does that the other day, and they were like, we were talking with a bunch of PJs, and we're like, hey, well, how did you hear about Air Force Special Warfare? And they're like, all of them said one's ready, and it's like, man, thank you. Like, thanks for letting me know that we are, like, three idiots. You're right, three idiots behind a microphone, but there is some goodness coming out of it, and even doing the Guardian Grit thing, like almost all of them knew about the podcast. There was one kid that asked me, actually, he was like, what's the name of your podcast? And everybody kind of laughed, because like everybody else knew, but it's like, but like we're trying to do good, and I think we're doing good, and I'm not trying to like blow smoke at my own butt, but we're trying, and it's more than some of the other people are doing.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about. If you're talking
The
about
tourniquet people mostly.
old money, cat people, tourniquet people. Listen,
All the same people. Yeah. Tourniquet people are basically politicians. I don't know.
big tourniquet's gonna come after us. Hey, just so you know, I think they're Gen 7s. I've got a cat Gen 7, two of them in each one of my vehicles. I have one hanging up in my garage for quick access. So I've got tourniquets everywhere. Like, and guess what? I'm still going to use them, and they have saved people. They've saved countless people, right? That's not what Scott was saying.
I also keep ace bandages now and tape everywhere and pressure, like, and gauze and all these other things that can do the same thing. It's if you pack and wrap right, you don't always need a tourniquet. But like I would, so personally, like, I would throw a tourniquet on first, probably just out of muscle memory, and then start packing and wrapping on afterwards if I can. So
I want to try that. Unless I heard him wrong, the surgical tube.
Yeah,
that's genius. I mean, yeah, that makes total sense why that would work very, very well.
Yeah. Well, and it's surface area, right? Like, so
Right.
his whole thing was like, tourniquets are this wide, especially older ones were too thin to, especially on like larger appendages, like your legs, to stop all the arterial bleeding. And he's like, if you widen it up, it requires way less pressure, and you're not, hurting your buddy more than you have to at the same time as stopping the bleed. And that's how they do it when they are performing surgery in a hospital. It's not an insane amount of pressure on your leg. It's a wider amount of pressure on your leg. And all the studies say that will stop the bleed. And they've proven that it stops the bleed better than a tourniquet. And so he never said that tourniquets are worthless. He just said there are also other ways to get after it without, and, jacking it all up. And some of the first gen tourniquets were really crappy as well that we were using. Like those things would break all the time.
Oh,
and
man.
They weren't easy to use.
I tell you what, I do hope that the Ranger medic that pinged us, I say Ranger medic.
The one that didn't show up to the podcast?
Yeah, I think he's a doctor now. Anyway, he pinged us, and Aaron actually had a conversation with him on the phone, I believe. And we had him scheduled to come on to refute everything that, or maybe not everything, but at least on the tourniquet side, because we're open. When you come on this podcast, this is your podcast. You say whatever you want, and everybody else can judge you. Now, we may challenge you on some of that stuff, but we're not going to sit here and go like, oh, no, you can't say that. And, but you got to show up though.
Yeah.
You got to show up.
I mean, Aaron's probably gonna, Aaron's the medical guy here, so he's probably gonna have more to say than the rest. I'm just gonna be like, this is fascinating, like, what?
Oh, that's how I am on most of the guests that we have on. I'm just sitting in the back, kind of like, huh? Like we had, like I said, Baker Levitt on, and he started talking about Zens and stuff, nicotine. Yeah. And
isn't it basically ADHD medicine is what they found? That's what nicotine is?
Is it? Well, apparently, like he was saying that nicotine is not actually, because I think him and Aaron are both involved in smokelessvets.org, and they were talking about, or Baker was saying, yeah, nicotine's not actually addictive. It's other stuff that's addictive. Nicotine's not addictive. Now, I don't know how true that's. Like,
I don't know either.
Right?
Yeah.
But it did have me go like, some kind of, because nicotine can be used as a nootropic, it's like, all right, well, I don't do any of that stuff. Could I, like,
Yeah.
legally do it? You know what I mean? It's like, but it's
It's
also
a
like, do I
slippery
need
slope,
it?
though. Yeah.
What's that?
Slippery slope. I mean, I think Zens are probably.
I,
I don't like Zen, but
or
you
whatever
know,
what do you use?
I'm a snooze guy.
Okay.
So snooze is interesting because I know we got to get off here soon. Do you have a heart out?
Not hard, but I should probably hop off here in the next 5.
Well, anyway, the snooze, like the Swedes came up with it, but it's banned in most of Europe because people like it a lot. But the few medical studies that they've been able to do, it's shown that snooze actually has no long-term detrimental medical effects on people, but people refuse to study it because I think they're worried that if they do like legitimate medical studies, like big ones, across a population that uses it, that they're going to find out that it's really not that big of a deal. Like, because for some reason, at some point, tobacco became the most evil thing in the world. But yeah, that's what I use. I like the snooze.
Okay. Well, whatever Vice uses. So quick story before hopping off here.
Yeah.
We're up in Washington doing a visit to one of our units, and we stop by and see the 2-2, and we run into Brandon, and Brandon's a big Zen dude, right? He's got like the 6 milligram or whatever measurement
Just
that is.
packing them in.
Yeah, and he was out and he saw what Vice had, because Vice has some like Switzerland or Swiss, like it's not from America. It is whatever. I don't know where he gets it from or whatever. And but it's super strong. And
Is it like the general stuff?
I mean, it is like a Swiss name, or
Okay.
it's all in. There's no English on it. And so Brandon, he gave a whole puck or a whole thing to Brandon, and as him and I and as Vice and I are heading to SeaTac to fly out, Brandon hits me up and was like, "Oh my god, dude, that stuff that it's like I'm on the floor." I don't think he said he was on the floor, but like he was like, "Dude, I'm messed up right now."
He like vibrated out of his chair, and he's just like, no, some of that Swedish stuff, like from Sweden, is it's potent. It's really, if you really need something, that stuff, and you can order it online and get it, and it's pretty rad. I'm not
proponent for it. We're
promoting
not
it.
saying. We're just saying.
I'm just saying, if you want a little minty freshness in your lip, and you also want to buzz, like a chainsaw, like there you go.
Oh boy, dude! Even if I tried the smallest amount, the weakest stuff, I'd be on the floor, dude. I tried in high school one time. I tried Kodiak, which I know is terrible stuff or whatever.
Jeez, dude.
And dude, I was sick for the whole night. I was done.
Yeah, dude. I didn't start until after we had our first kid, which is usually opposite. Most people quit when they have kids.
Yeah.
But I mean, I went back to team. I did. My wife got pregnant. I did a rotation. I came back, had a kid, did a rotation, and I think somewhere around getting after that second rotation, that was kind of back to back. And I went back to train up for some more stuff, or it was in between, maybe, I don't know. At some point I was so tired that all the young guys on team were using it, and I was like, dude, what is that? And they showed me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the shop and get some right now. And that was that.
Oh man. Anyway, all right, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and then leave us a review. Please subscribe. Over 50% of you guys do not subscribe. Please do. Please hit the like. Please.
It's okay. It's okay to subscribe. I'm not asking. I'm telling.
Don't have to watch it. Don't watch it then. That's fine. But subscribing helps. And then leave a review. onesready.com, some merch. We're happy to have you. Thanks for joining us.
I think on the reviews, you can hit 5 stars and still write whatever you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what you write. Yeah. Just do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Or you could just chat GPT it, put whatever you want in there.
The Once Ready podcast provides.
Yeah. All right, dude. I'll catch you later.
All right, later, brother.